right, I'm currently on the phone with Tracy Inman. He's another musician that reached out about the current interview session. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Tracy Inman. I am from St. Louis area, Metro East, East Alton, Illinois, to be exact. I have an album out right now titled It's About Time. There are 10 tracks on it. I've had 4 of them released to radio, and some of them have gotten a little bit of radio airplay, so I'm very proud of that. The songs that have got a little radio airplay are TTYL. That's a pretty cool song, acronym song. Obviously Talk to You Later, kind of a stalker song, I guess is what you call it. And so before I go any further, I'm country music. So in case you guys are wondering, right? A guy going home with a girl, and then all of a sudden she just ghosts him. So it's actually a pretty cool song. And no, it's not about experience. Yeah. And then another song out there is called a song called On Facebook. That was one of the first ones that I went down and recorded about, I think it was 2 years ago when I recorded that one. Obviously, it's kind of a guy's on the Facebook with a girl. They break up, and it's what happens after you break up on Facebook with a girl, and you don't block them or they don't block you, right? You start seeing pictures of them with other people and stuff, and you get kind of sad, right? But it's actually a really upbeat song. It's kind of funny. Another song that was released is called If This Is Heaven. And that's my favorite song. My top 2 favorite song. That's one of my top 2. And it's a great beer drinking song. And it's not a slow song. Everybody probably thinks it's a slow song because it's titled If This Is Heaven, but it's called If This Is Heaven, I'd Hate to See Hell. It's a relationship, about a relationship, how a guy just gets tired of staying home with his counterpart because all they do is yell, and you got to listen to that song and you'll understand what I'm talking about. No, that's not based on experience either. I'm married, so I can't really say much like that, right?
All right. Well,
and then
go ahead.
Yeah, the other song that was just released last month was is Daddy's Girl. It's a song I wrote for my 2 daughters. So great wedding song. I've actually had people send me recordings of their daughters dancing to it as a father-daughter dance. So that's cool.
All right. Well, so we'll definitely get into talking about how those songs came about. But for the moment, let's kind of go back in time a little bit. Tell me about when this all started for you. When did you kind of realize that music was going to be a larger part of your life?
So years ago, when I was 16, 17 years old, I started writing lyrics, putting lyrics down to paper with these melodies in my head. And, I was kind of hard into it, really writing, and then life happens, right? I had to make that choice, marriage, kids, all that, or try to continue going the route, I was going. And I obviously I decided to go with the wife and kids thing. But I always had the lyrics in my head, and off and on, I'd write songs. My 2 girls, that Daddy's Girl song I was talking about, probably about 15 years ago when my youngest one was about 7 years old, she actually helped me write that song a little bit, adding some words here or there, which was cool, a little 7-year-old. And then about 3 years ago, I started really getting into that on Facebook song, that the chorus, and it just really started clicking in my head. I couldn't get the damn thing out of my head, so started writing lyrics to it. And 2 years ago, I decided, hey, I'm going to go down to Nashville. I'm going to get some music to it. I'm going to check it out and see what I can do. So I had that, and I had the Daddy's Girl song when I went down there. Adam Knight, who owns AOK Records, had me come down. I kind of did it. It's an alternative way of writing music. I wasn't in the same room with somebody else writing the music for the most part. I worked with Adam through the phone. It's great. What's great about internet and live and stuff like that is you can actually physically talk to people. You can get your ideas to them and stuff like that. So he started working the music with the studio musicians down there, and I was working the lyrics, and then we'd listen together, and I'd put the melodies together and all that stuff, and came up with the On Facebook song, and it came out like excellent. We're like, holy cow, we didn't realize it would sound as good as it did. And then, of course, the Daddy's Girl, at the same time, I had an acoustic version from 10 years ago, and we ended up making it more of a piano song. Now it's more keys in it than what there was before. So we put those two songs together, and I started going around my area here and talking to people, family, friends, and they're like, "You got any more? That's pretty good." So, had them on Spotify, had them on all the platforms and everything, and started getting some people listening to them. And I thought, man, that's awesome. To me, one person was more than enough. That's what I did it for, right? Did it for me, but then also people want to listen to it. That's great. So I started talking to Adam, and I said, how many songs do I need to put together an album? And he's like, you need probably 10 or 11. So I started digging through my old stuff from the past, from when I was 16, 17 years old, talking about old girlfriends and stuff like that, at that age, and drinking, of course, when you're 20, 21 years old. And so I came up with the next song, which is called I'm Drunk Again, which, a great song. Like you said, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I started just like a creative explosion in my head with lyrics and with these melodies and stuff. So I kept calling Adam, and we started putting everything in motion. Went down there probably about 8 times, and ended up, getting this album together. Got the song sent off to the radio stations. Started actually giving away CDs up here. Now people are buying the CDs, which is cool. Of course, CDs is almost a relic now. So, but yeah, I mean, long story short, that's how I got into it. Just putting everything together.
So a couple of questions I have about that. When you were going down to Nashville to get some of your songs recorded, did you kind of have some of the instrumentation of how you wanted to be arranged already in mind, or did you work with a producer to kind of flush out the rest of the songs?
I had in my mind how I wanted it to be. And I got with the producer, I got with Adam down there, and, hit and miss is what I would say. You were hitting some stuff, and then I'm like, no, that's not kind of what I'm looking for. And a lot of feedback between both of us. But that's how it went. He really put it together for me. It was great.
Okay, sure. So let's talk about the collection of songs as a whole. Eventually, you did get the entire album recorded, and, that's what you're playing and everything. Tell me about, kind of how all of the subject matter came about. Obviously, you've hinted at, the On Facebook song has some inspiration behind it, and then also the song that you wrote with your daughters has some inspiration behind it. What other kind of inspiring events have you drawn from to kind of create the songs?
Well, I said there's 2 of my favorite songs. The other one's called I'm Drunk Again. And I'm actually a recovering alcoholic. I've been 10 years and a couple months sober. So I spent a lot of time drinking. And it's odd that I'd write a song about being drunk, right? But I took some of those experiences. And if you listen to the lyrics, the first part of the song is laying by a creek talking to a bullfrog. And I actually literally one time woke up next to a creek, basically talking to animals right next to me because so I threw my experiences into this. I know that's probably a weird thing people are listening to, like, holy crap, this guy's crazy. No, I'm not crazy. It's life. There's a lot of different experiences. So for that song there, it's about having drinks, having a couple crazy things happen to you, going out with your friends, and then the next morning you wake up and you do it again, right? Then there's Uncle Hank is a song on there. That song there just popped in my head. I was listening to a radio show, and the guy's name on the radio show was Hank. I forget what station it was on. I was driving a couple hours one day, and they came on. And I thought, man, that would be that's a cool name to have in a song because Hank Williams, all that stuff. And I started thinking about basically the old time bootleggers and how they used to hide stuff, their alcohol, stuff like that. And, that's a pretty good song. If you guys ever listen to it, it's actually a really, really good story. That's one of the proud story songs that I have, right? There's another song on there called Guess What? That's a father-daughter. It's actually if she doesn't change her ways, they're not going to go to Disneyland or go camping anymore, go do stuff like that. That's a pretty fun song. There's a song in there called "I Don't Regret," and you guys might not realize this. It actually, hold on, try that. It actually, "Being With You" is what we had. We changed the name to "Being With You" right before the Grammy nominations were released. There's actually a video on YouTube for that song, and it was actually made it into like the top 100 on the Grammy nominations for Best Solo Country Performance. It didn't make it to the top 5, obviously, but it got up there to where I thought that was pretty cool. It had a little Grammy experience. It had I was working through with Al Gomes through BigNoiseNow.com. He's had people win Grammys, and he sponsored me through this Grammy deal. And I thought, man, that was a pretty cool experience. It was exciting, nail biting, but I knew at the end, after I think it was the the third round, that I wasn't going to make it to the top 5. You got stars like Chris Stapleton and them in there. And then, like I said, the TTYL, there's actually a video on YouTube too, which is a pretty cool video, well-produced video of that song. And so the creative explosion just is a mix from when I was younger up till now.
Okay, perfect. So tell me about kind of where you want to see all of this go. What do you see for yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I'm going back down to Nashville actually next 2 weeks from now. I have 2 more songs that I'm going to record. I plan on the next 3 or 4 years. I plan on recording at least probably 6 or 8 songs a year. What's cool about writing your songs and recording them is you remember that time of your life, right? Those exciting times going down there, and there's a lot of days that go past that you don't realize that, there's some things we just don't do. You forget those days. There's a lot of days you forget as you grow older. These days here, I remember. And over the last 2 years, since I started the recording process, I remember every trip. I remember every song I've written. I remember I have a band that I play with that, I remember every single show. I remember all that stuff just because it's so awesome to experience. It's something that I work so hard at. So 5-10 years from now, I foresee myself hopefully being a songwriter first and an artist second. I think people, for instance, the "I'm Drunk Again" song right now is getting pushed around Nashville to like Sony and some other places by some A&R people. They're listening to it, and then they might choose it to have one of their artists sing it, which would be cool too. I'm perfectly fine with that. But again, I'm perfectly fine being the artist too. It's kind of hard to say. But 10 years from now, man, I'm going to be successful one way or the other. And before we move on, success to me isn't monetary or stardom. Success to me is I've already reached a lot of it because people have listened to my music. I think I had over 100,000 listens on Spotify last year through 2024. And just to get 10 is an awesome experience, but to have over 100,000 people, that's great as well. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, where can people find your stuff and check it out and listen to it?
So I have there's a website, TracyInmanmusic.com. You can find all my music on there. There's actually a paranormal song. So if anybody out there that's into the paranormal field, I own a website called Paralinked.com, PARALINKED.com as well. And I wrote a song for the paranormal community. If you guys get a chance, check it out. It's not on the album. It's just out there. You can just look it up on Spotify or any. So all my songs are on any platforms out there. Apple, Spotify, of course. Just type in Tracy Inman, TracyInman. They're on TouchTunes. So if you're in a bar and you feel like listening to one of my songs, you just go up to the jukebox and play it. You can go to Tracy Inman on Facebook, of course. You can go to Tracy Inman Band on Facebook as well. That's a lot of it. And of course you can email me through the TracyInmanMusic.com if you have any questions. So yeah, you can find me on social media, Tracy Inman 2016 on Instagram. And you can find me on TikTok at Tracy Inman 4. I believe that's all of them. I can't believe this day and age how much internet stuff there is out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. All right. Well, I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So what's a message that you have that you want to share with other people?
One of the slogans I've used through most of my life is stay weird. Sounds odd, but stay weird. Everybody out there has got their own ways of following up on themselves or presenting themselves. You could be one. Don't feel bad if you're a little bit weirder than other people. I remember I used to, when I was writing songs in 8th grade. I'll get one quick story before we go. In 8th grade, I'm writing lyrics on my desk, on a piece of paper, and everybody's like, "Well, that's weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" I'm like, one day I plan on actually doing this. I'd like to do it, either songwrite or whatever. And I don't know what that song was, couldn't tell you, but at that point in time, I thought, man, maybe I'm a little bit off from other people, so I'm just going to stay weird. So.